Hey, soldiers, if you thought that the FTX scandal couldn't get any more interesting, maybe you thought that Sam Bankman-Fried couldn't show any more entitlement than he already has. It's a possibility that people are out there saying, well, you know, he seemed really out of touch with reality. There's no way that he could get even more out of touch. Well, guess what? I thought so too, but apparently we were wrong. Because you're not going to believe the audacity of this guy and what has just happened to him in relation to furthering this scheme that he had already allegedly perpetrated. Now, what am I talking about? Well, Robinhood shares. Sam Bankman-Fried and Gary Wang owned nearly $500 million in Robinhood shares. And that's been seized by the federal government.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, was he trying to hide money? You know what? That's what it seems like to me. The U.S. Department of Justice has seized more than 55 million shares of Robinhood stock owned via a holding company by Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX co-founder Gary Wang, according to court documents. The shares were worth just over $456 million US based on the closing price of Robinhood as of Friday. That closing price was $8.25. The stock had been held at an account at UK-based or United Kingdom-based brokerage ED&F Man. Now, the salient point here is that they were held by Gary Wang and Sam Bankman-Fried. We all know that Gary Wang is a cooperating witness facing 50 years in prison. And from my understanding of what I've read, the government has not promised him anything. Okay, not yet at least. They want to see how this thing turns out. And if the goods that he has don't contribute convincingly to a conviction, then he's looking at closer to that 50 years than 10. So Gary Wang, being a cooperating witness with the Justice Department, with the prosecutor's office, has probably said, hey, look, I'm going to tell you everything, including about this pile of money we got stashed away over in the United Kingdom worth $500 million. And that's probably how they came upon that. The seized assets constitute property involved in violations. Keep that phrase in the back of your mind for now. Seized assets constitute property involved in violations. Property involved in violations means the government has reason to believe, probably from what they learned from Wang, that this money was ill-gotten gains, amounted to ill-gotten gains, proceeds from the criminal activity, the alleged criminal activity. And they say right here, crimes such as money laundering and wire fraud is what that court document says in terms of relating this pot of money to those specific violations. Sam Bankman-Fried was formally charged with those and other crimes back on December 13th when he, got back here to the United States of America. He was in that prison down in the Bahamas, and he scampered out of there. Okay, he got the hell out of there because of the living conditions, quite deplorable. The Robinhood shares were, in principle, owned by FTX co-founders Bankman-Fried and Gary Wang through their Emergent Fidelity Technologies holding company. FTX, now run by John Ray III, he's the CEO that is basically administering the bankruptcy proceeding, trying to make as many of FTX's founders whole as possible. He asked a judge late last month to freeze the Robinhood stock that was owned by Wang and Bankman-Fried. Now, there was an interesting comment that came across the transom today related to one of the Sam Bankman-Fried videos. And an individual stated that he thought that these people deserved, the investors that is, deserved to lose their money. And, you know, I respectfully disagreed with that because you've got to believe that these people were putting this money with FTX and trusting Sam Bankman-Fried with this money to grow it, okay? They saw crypto as an asset they could use to grow their money for who knows what, buying a house, starting a business, sending a kid to college, okay, just building generational wealth, who knows, right? And keep in mind, if they sign that first terms of service, that first conditions of service document with FTX that said they didn't want their money commingled with any risky bets of the type that Alameda Research was doing, and that's fine. Alameda Research can make all the risky bets it wants as a hedge fund, but it cannot do that with money that has been specifically placed in a bucket where people have said they don't want their money exposed to any risk beyond just housing it with this exchange. Okay, so to the extent that people sign that first terms of service agreement, they thought that the right things were being done here, that they were operating under the assumption that this is a legitimate company, just like you and I do every day of the week when we contract with, you know, a company like maybe PayPal. I don't like PayPal, but I'm using them as an example. Zelle, some company like that, or your bank, or your insurance company, or any company where you have money held for you, or you're going to use that company to do transactions. You're taking it on faith that they're going to do the right thing with your money. And that's why it's important that Sam Bankman-Fried is being prosecuted. Because if you can believe it, this guy actually said that he thought that this money that he had held in Robinhood shares, he thought this money was going to be used to help him pay his legal fees. Bankman-Fried opposed the move that John Ray requested. Remember, John Ray requested that the judge freeze the Robinhood stock owned by Wang and Bankman-Fried. Bankman-Fried naturally opposed the move, saying in part he needed the shares to help pay his legal fees. Can you believe the audacity of this guy? He's basically saying, listen, I know I defrauded you and I know I stole your money, allegedly, but I need those alleged ill-gotten gains to help me get out of the trouble. Okay? Why can't you guys understand that? This goes right alongside, him running his mouth consistently when his lawyers even told him to STFU. The lawyers he got before Rob Cohen came onto the scene, they left. This guy is displaying some insane amounts of entitlement at this point. And it's making it very hard to look at this objectively. But you know what? We still have to, because it's not a fait accompli that he's going to serve time in prison. But I do like the fact that, hey, you're not going to use ill-gotten gains, potential ill-gotten gains, and the government must strongly believe that that's what they are. You're not going to use your ill-gotten gains to help you get out of this trouble by paying for your legal defense. The U.S. government said it is in the process of seizing a number of assets potentially linked to FTX. So the fun has just started with regard to searching out these accounts. And because Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison were the two closest people to him in the FTX company, and both of them are cooperating, they're going to find more money that this guy thought he was going to use to get out of this mess of his own creation, and probably thought that if he's found not guilty, he's going to sit there and let the bankruptcy courts handle the people that lost money. He may have some change left over to start another venture with. It's looking more and more like that's exactly how Sam Bankman-Fried is approaching this situation. So, as I always say, we will continue to monitor this situation, find out what's going on. But this just takes the cake. This guy is insufferable. Okay, on the channel, we do a lot more than cover Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, although it is newsworthy. We want to bring it to you as things happen. But what we also want you to do is take a look at this video, 3 side hustles that will pay $350 a day and could turn into unlimited income sources for you if prosecuted correctly. Check this video out, like, subscribe. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.